from the Workplace Ninja Summit in Luzerne. Highlights, insights, and simply interesting talks. This is the Workplace Ninja Podcast.
Open the slider. Hello, welcome at the Workplace Ninja Summit here in Luzerne 2024. My name is Frans Oudendorp. I have with me some community guys, but also Microsoft, I think it is. Peter, welcome as a co-host. Unprepared, but you have a lot of questions.
Yeah, but they're long-time friends, so we know each other for a long time. Ken is now Microsoft, but he's still part of the community, running community, so we're all friends.
He's running the community in Belgium. Ken Goossens, welcome.
Thank you.
And we have Tim.
Hello.
And a difficult last name, de Keukelaere.
Tim de Keukelaere, that's it.
Yeah, for me it's more than easy, but from people abroad it's a bit different. Yeah. And Gerry Hampson, welcome.
Thank you very much. I've always wanted to be live from Luzerne.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just are you here for the third year on the Workplace Ninjas?
Oh, I think fifth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did also the virtual ones. Yep.
For sure.
Yeah, all the 5 times
all
you.
Of them, yeah.
Yeah, great.
Glad to be back. As Peter says, we're all friends.
Yeah, definitely. But what excites you the most to be here on such an event for the fifth time?
The sharing with the community is first and foremost, but also to meet your peers and learn from them, to meet with the Microsoft representatives and to learn from them and to get hopefully NDA information that we get on the pre-day. So just meeting old friends and making new ones. It's great. It's the only way.
Yeah, and Tim, how is that for you?
Yeah, I share the same feeling. It's great to see everybody again. Yeah, we got the MVP pre-day, so we got some inside info from the people from Microsoft. Then we meet all the peers. We meet a lot of customers or maybe to-be customers for the future. You get to talk about a lot of topics, technical topics, things that you learn, things that you bring to the table that you maybe get an answer or a different angle to. So yeah, that's to me the value in these community events. Yeah.
I can working for Microsoft. How is that nowadays?
It brings some additional value, obviously. Obviously, I have always been in the community, so I really like to share the knowledge as well. But now we have the advantages of talking to customers, getting their feedback, and that helps us a lot to improve the products and the features that we're working on.
Yeah.
But that's something additionally now.
You're on the other side.
Yeah, I'm on the dark side.
That was a joke that we had this week already on the dark side. That's the security part of.
Yeah, that's true.
Isn't it?
That's okay, Ken. We'll still talk to you.
It almost sounds like a confession that you talk about the dark side straight away. So we'll take note of that.
Yeah.
I heard you talking before.
Nice. But let's dive in a bit on app management because Gerry, Tim, you're both doing a session on app management, I guess?
Yeah, we did one yesterday morning. Yeah, we had the 8 o'clock, so we
that's really early.
We kicked off day 2 of the summit.
Yeah.
So
and we had a good attendance.
Yeah. They moved us to the big room, so it's been quite an experience. It was good to see so many people show up at 8 in the morning. We did have a lot of content. We were just in time, and then we had quite some people grabbing us in the hallway with some positive feedback, but also with some additional questions. So we had a really good session.
Yeah, it was very good. Yeah, so we dived into technical details of what was good, what was bad, what was missing,
the security aspect of things like App Locker, things like application updates we talked about. You talked about the troubleshooting, Gerry.
Integration with Defender for Endpoint. So there was something in there it was a high level, but something for everyone. And we showed some community tools that were useful for people.
Focused on Windows, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Purely Windows and all the possibilities.
All Windows. It was all Windows, not mobile. Yeah. So it's very good.
What was the key takeaway? I couldn't attend because I had a recording at 8:15 at the moment. But what was the main takeaway that I should come with when I was attending your session?
One of the main takeaways that I wanted to get out there for everybody is that Win32 apps are your friend. I almost exclusively use Win32 apps when I'm creating for solutions, and they're just so flexible. So anything I can do, especially when I'm trying to, I'm air quoting now, migrate from GPO, any kind of solution I need to create something, I can pretty much do with a Win32 app, whether it's registry settings or map drives or printers or whatever it is. I would create a script and wrap it in a Win32 app. And specifically, one of the main reasons I like to do that is because I can use filters. The native script functionality in Intune doesn't support filters. So that's why I exclusively use Win32 apps. And I said it more than once in the session, so I hope people got that.
Is it only filters, or can you also do other stuff with Win32 apps, dependencies and all that kind of stuff?
Dependencies, making them available.
We put a lot of attention
requires.
into detection methods as well, because they're a cornerstone into the app delivery model. So that's
Absolutely, and we showed a great tool, if I can mention.
Yeah, definitely.
The tool. So Andrew Jimenez has an excellent detection tool that he creates. So it interrogates your local machine, and it can list all the applications that are on your machine, and you can just magically create a detection script that you can run on your devices, and it detects that the app is there and the version, etc. So I showed that tool, and all of a sudden the phones came out and they were taking pictures of the screen. So that obviously was a good takeaway. People didn't know, and it's useful to pass on that knowledge. And hi, Andrew.
And if you are sharing the link with me, I will put it in the description as well, so people can.
Yeah, we can do that. We also shared the deck.
Yeah,
so after the session, we had the final slides because we made some last-minute updates to it. Even
as always,
like all the speakers do, I think.
Yeah.
So just after the session, because we saw all these people taking pictures, we said, okay, it's now available. So we tweeted it out as well.
Yeah.
So
And the link is in the deck as well.
yeah, so everything is there for the attendees to catch up later. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, one of the other takeaways, the application security part. That was one part was about the application updates, where you have, of course, natively from Microsoft in the Intune suite or as a standalone solution, the enterprise app management. So we touched that topic. And of course, we also highlighted third-party solutions, because we have many sponsors here for the event that have solutions that can help keeping your applications up to date. And of course, from a security perspective, that's an important one. We also talked about the App Locker, App Control for Business, it's called now. If you want to go really deep and secure your workstations, it adds a lot of complexity. But if you do it right, you do have a very strong security score and security stance.
Sure.
So
And we talked about the integration with Defender in your tenant, where you showed
the remediations, how you can do advanced hunting for example, high severity risks that you have from a software point of view. We talked about that. And I think one of the other takeaways was about content management. That's often overlooked. It's one thing to get your applications out there and to get them patched and maintained, but there's also a lot of binaries and content floating behind that. So that's, one of the things we touched about as well. So DO and the Microsoft Connected Cache, we gave an intro to as well. Yeah.
Doink.
The delivery optimization in network cache.
Now MCC.
That's so legacy.
But it sounds good.
That's anything to add, Ken? Because and app management on the session. I don't know if you saw the session of Gerry and Tim on that, but you did a session on Windows 11.
Yeah.
Windows 11 in relation to app management.
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell about that?
App management for Windows 11. It doesn't differ a lot from Windows 10, I would say. So basically, majority of the apps will work always on Windows 11.
Yep.
One of the reasons for that is because we didn't really change the version of Windows. Windows 11 is 10.0.2, where Windows 10 was 10.0.1. So we kind of have a 98.9 compatibility success rate when it comes to applications on Windows 11. So I don't see a big difference in the way companies manage applications compared to Windows 10.
If I can just add to that. So anytime we're in a situation where we're upgrading for a customer, whether it was a new version of Windows 10 or into Windows 11, the things that would catch us out normally are VPN software or third-party antivirus software that that wouldn't support the new version, so you have to upgrade the version of VPN. They're usually the two that will catch you out. So.
Or some vendor statements, for example, some vendors that does not, even though the app runs on Windows 11, there is no vendor statement, so we do not support it on Windows 11. Sure. So these are like the challenge that we see. But then we have the Aperture team that can go and reach out to the app vendor, and then they work together and they try to fix that for customers.
I learned here at the conference as well, this morning, the delivery optimization session, apparently there, Windows 11 does differ from Windows 10. It's a lot better in Windows 11, the delivery optimization. So under the hood, you do get more that you're not even aware of.
That's
There's
right.
not a lot of transparency about that functionality.
So the part I learned also, what you're saying, in that Windows 10 only shares 4 pieces of information at any one time, whereas Windows 11 can share everything in the cache. So that's
in combination with the DNS-SD, but the broadcasting functionality.
Sure.
So, but that's typically the things that are a couple of layers deeper. And as a customer, if you don't have a dedicated team working with application management, they're simply commonly not aware about that. So that's
That was a great session.
It was a good one.
On DO,
And Windows 11 notes from the fields. That was your session, Ken.
Yeah. So the idea was actually, I've been working with many customers over the last couple of years that were looking into moving to Windows 11, and I wanted to bring us more like a strategic vision of all the feedback that we gathered over the last couple of years, and really divide everything into 3 pillars. Like, okay, what did they do to get ready? You need to be aware of your hardware estate, what applications you're running. Then, obviously, once you're ready to migrate, you want to get deployed, right? And then how are you going to deploy that? And obviously, we have different ways. There are obviously still config manager today. There are still config manager customers. You can do it with AutoPatch. You can do it with WoofB. Not today, everything is unified in one unification, AutoPatch unification. But the main message that we really want to land is, because obviously in 1 year, Windows 10 will be out of support. So don't start to migrate from one solution, one tool to another, but focus on your migration to Windows 11 first, and then look into modernization of your tools.
But it's a pretty easy upgrade. Of course, it's depending on where you're at. But for instance, I want to point out one of my customers. They were already cloud native. They were rolling out Windows 10 cloud native, Azure AD joint with Intune managed, MDE, all of it. And then basically they started slowly testing Windows 11, and they didn't see any issue. So they literally decided over the weekend, okay, just roll out Windows 11.
Yeah.
We're not even to run upgrade it. We're just rolling out Windows 11, and without any failure, all the apps were working.
Yeah.
It's basically just another update.
Yeah, it is.
Of course.
And it's also a little bit of trust, right? Because I think a lot of customers, they still have in mind that migration from Windows 7 to Windows 10, where they had to reassess everything, like their GPOs, application compatibility, which was a big problem at that time.
It was a huge impact.
And they see it as the same type of project, which is not the case. No. It's just like, hey, push that update and do an in-place upgrade from 10 to 11. And most of the time, you will be very successful in doing that. And you will win a lot of time, because you remove all that complexity of preparing, like we did 5-10 years ago. So.
Last year, you talked about troubleshooting, Ken. If we take that part, maybe on the app side thing, Gerry, you already mentioned a community tool on that. I think in the last few weeks, we did a what's new on Intune, and Win32 apps on the Intune management extension. And we now have some extra logs available. Yeah. Does that help to troubleshoot Win32 apps, for example?
Yes, because that Intune management extension log was very noisy, extremely noisy, and very hard to find what you're looking for. The new log
app workload.
It's made things so much easier, and all your Win32 app information is in that place. You don't have to wade through the other stuff to find it. So yeah, very useful. And maybe not so easy with Notepad, but yeah.
During our demo, what did we use, Gerry?
Notepad?
CM Trace.
CM Trace.
CM Trace still. It's
Jerry is
still.
more on the Wally Mead side of the
Always.
spectrum. So,
Always. Yeah.
But that's the thing, right? I mean, CM Trace, how long has it been going on? It's about 15 years, 20
Yeah,
years?
yeah,
And we
true.
still use it
Sure.
to look at merged at logs, for example, to troubleshoot these modern logs. It's still helpful. It's still a
Sure.
helpful tool.
But the point is, though, that a new log has been very, very useful. We also saw another community tool, Petri, Pavola's tool for
Device GUI.
device GUI. So where you're trying to troubleshoot information about a user and a device, and there are a lot of places in the console you have to look, and you have to go from one place to another, and you close what you're doing, then you go somewhere else. But Petri has a great tool that you can see all that information in one screen, and it works very well. He's had a couple of sessions here this week as well.
Right. Any other things? Because troubleshooting is so broad in that way. We're looking at Intune management extension, but if we take that broader on Windows 11, last year you did that session on troubleshooting. Is that evolving as well?
Since last year, I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know.
I think the principles are still the same. We unfortunately did not yet release that decode tool to decode the ETL files to merge them. So that is
helpful,
that would be helpful. Obviously, that's something that we use to let customers export their ETL files and then send it over to us. It's extremely helpful to us.
Yeah.
Obviously, not very much for customers. But nothing in particular changed compared to last year in terms of troubleshooting Windows.
So it will still be the same conversation as last year.
I think so, yeah.
I think in that perspective, I had an interesting conversation just this morning with one of your Microsoft colleagues. It's about, okay, the modern aspect is user-centric, but there is still an important role for IT. As long as everything goes well, the user-centric part, it's great to offload your IT department, but when it goes wrong, sometimes we're missing the right tools or the visibility to determine, okay, what was wrong or what was not going right. I think that would be helpful in the future to get some more tools from Microsoft natively to do that.
Well,
the community is closing the gap, but yeah.
About the community, sorry. So that's why I like this week so much, because you can see the reports in Intune, which we know aren't, not as useful as perhaps they may be. So the community are filling the gap. And there was a great session I was just at with Morris and Simon, where they talked about ingesting the logs into log analytics and how to use KQL to make them out most of those logs, and how to use Power BI to create some marvelous reports from that information. So, great for troubleshooting. Great to come here this week and learn this kind of thing.
I also saw on a slide today of Mike's session about Security Copilot that there might be some device troubleshooting capabilities coming soon.
Okay.
So that could be an interesting native.
But it comes with an extra cost.
Yeah.
Probably.
And that's the thing. But and that's always the thing. It's, okay, I understand the reasoning behind it, and the Copilot efforts, they need to pay off at some point for a vendor. But on the other hand, you have these core capabilities, and they also require at least a level of troubleshooting. And I don't think it's correct that you put everything in a more expensive queue and you forget about the core capabilities. I think that's a message that was given during the AMA sessions as well. So I hope for Microsoft that's a takeaway from their customers.
Tonight we have the AMA with the leadership, so we can share it again. But talking about Copilot, you have another session also this week.
Yeah, tomorrow. In particular, more about Microsoft 365 Copilot and the Windows Copilot experience, because obviously a lot has changed. We made some new announcements on Monday in that space. Basically, we released Wave 2 of Microsoft 365 Copilot. So there are a couple new enhancements, like we added Python support, for example, to Excel. So for data geeks, that is going to be extremely interesting. We have now Copilot in OneDrive, Copilot in SharePoint, and what I also like is the Copilot agents. So we basically have agents so that customers can build their own Copilot extensions, which is going to be pretty big, I think. The only thing I miss a little bit there is that it doesn't seem like a lot of customers start to explore what they can do with an NPU, because the Copilot PC has an NPU, which will bring AI to the edge, right? So for some companies, that could be super interesting, because they can then run AI on their device instead of reaching out to a cloud service. But so yeah, if people hear this, think about scenarios how you can leverage MPU on Copilot plus PCs, and let us know.
Think also about your commercial data protection. Some homework to do before.
So
just often overlooked.
I would recommend you to come to my session tomorrow. So we have now enterprise data protection instead of commercial data protection.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes.
I need to catch up on that one.
So tomorrow.
Doesn't everything good in life come with some kind of cost? Like, look at this view, for example. Huh?
Yeah. It's clearing up. So
Yeah, one last thing that I want to know, because you're doing stuff on app management, the session. What about app lifecycle? Is that I can deploy an app, but if there is a new version or whatever.
Yeah, that's the story about application vulnerabilities, right? I mean, yeah, the usual example, the usual suspect. Look at browsers, look at Google Chrome. If you have to maintain that manually, keep it secure and roll out all the updates, I mean, you're packaging 5 days a week. Whenever you're done with package number 1, you can start with package number 2. There are so many updates, so many CVEs for browsers, you can't catch up. So you need a solution, whether it's a native solution from Microsoft, whether it's a third-party solution. I sometimes have customers who have their own packaging teams or have an outsourced packaging team, and they're always convinced, we can handle this in-house. There's no way you can keep up the cadence or packaging yourself.
But always make sure that you are in control, that you roll out an update in a controlled way, in waves.
Yeah,
we've seen it recently being the case that they didn't do anything when millions of devices were hit. So make sure, you know what's happening.
And that's typically what's overlooked. People start and they experiment and they do a pilot, and that pilot becomes production along the way, and they forgot about the process and the strategy behind it, and then you need to catch up. So do your homework up front. Think about the staggered deployments. Maybe align it with the Windows updates. You have the Patch Tuesday cycle, which is carved in stone by Microsoft, by the vendor. Maybe your application updating strategy should follow the same cadence and the same principles.
Sure. It's also important to note that there are third-party solutions provided by a number of the sponsors here at Workplace Ninja, and they work very well. Plus, there's the native Microsoft solution that's kind of new to the party, but will improve and will become very useful in the future.
I had a conversation with Matthias Melkersen and Nicolai Andersen on moving. Shift to cloud native. One of the things that we are discussing there was, and I really liked that approach, that was about Edge for Business. And Nicolai was was making the story. Look at Edge for Business more as an operating system instead of an app, because vendors, SaaS vendors, are moving into more and more SaaS applications, and all that applications are consumed by Edge for Business on a Windows or on a Mac PC, for example. So if you look at Edge as an operating system, all the kind of settings that you can do and manage the Edge on that kind of way for delivering your SaaS applications, what kind of thinking is that on your side?
Oh, no, it's definitely, and I think I had a similar discussion last night at the party with Sami Lyo. It's becoming the most important app of your operating system, and people say, but I use Chrome as a backup. Guess what? Edge is using the same foundation.
It's both Chromium based.
If you update both without testing or without securing your Edge browser, it can be also a disaster.
And that's where Intune comes in as well. I visit regularly customers, and they know they have browser standardization. So they have Chrome, they have Edge, they have sometimes Firefox, Brave browsers, you call it. They're all there. They're unmanaged, all of them. But what about, for example, browser extensions? There's so many vulnerabilities with browser extensions. In Intune, with configuration profiles, you can have whitelisting, you can have silent installation capabilities. A lot of customers simply aren't aware of that, and they don't focus on the browser as a platform to manage. So in that context, it's an important one.
And sometimes they can be difficult to prevent. Yeah, for sure.
So and you need an app locker kind of functionality or app control for business type of functionality to prevent the other browsers from being installed and being used, because the hassle there is they can install in a user context.
And when you get to the point that you're talking about edge and edge policies and Intune managed devices, you also get to the scenario that we're hearing a lot of this week. And we all know that there's no more future investment in hybrid domain join. So the message from everybody this week is you really need to be, especially when you're doing an autopilot scenario, is just enter join and start your journey to find out, well, what will not work? If you haven't done it, you won't know, something. You may find something that you need to do some work on, but you'll never know unless you start. So that's a big message this week.
And I think all the ingredients to move to cloud native are coming up, and up. So I think we can fully make the puzzle almost with all the ingredients that there are for cloud native.
If you focus on zero trust scenarios, I think cloud native is absolutely the way to go.
Yep.
That's where all the investments are as well.
It's foundation, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's what I'm doing for my customers. A customer comes to me and says they want to do an autopilot solution. And they mentioned they want it to support hybrid. So I say, well, let's look at that and let's do a first pilot of just enter join and let's see what doesn't work. And usually we can make it work. Anything we find will make it work, and then they start that journey and they manage the hybrid stuff until they have to. But I'm eating my own dog food, shall we say.
Yeah, and from a troubleshooting perspective, not everything, but we have a lot of tools and logs and whatever that we can use to make it happen. All the ingredients there for making it happen cloud native. App management is there, so we can deliver apps, and we're moving forward. So I think probably we all will be here next year as well. So let's continue this conversation on this topic next year probably. So thanks for joining me on this recording. Thank you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.
And if you like this video or recording, as always, like and subscribe. And I say until next time.
Thank you.
Yeah.